Made it to April. We are in April 1st. Thank you so much. My name is Destiny Woodruss. I'm with Capital City Pride, and I'm the Director for Community Diversity in Education. Folks, we have a live one tonight. I'm so excited to introduce you all to our speaker. We've been working at this. Jade has been on the docket since about 2019, so it's been a long time coming. And I just want to say welcome to everybody who tunes in. And if this is your first speaker series in April or ever, welcome. You're in for a treat tonight, and I'm just so excited that you're here with us. And thank you for being here. Also, we have a sponsor. They're up at the corner of our screen. It is F&G. And we just want to take a moment to thank F&G for sponsoring the speaker series and making sure that, the small town of Des Moines, Iowa has, big city entertainment, has a way to connect with all of us in the LGBT community and beyond. And so they actually have a statement for us. F&G, a leading provider of annuities and life insurance based here in Des Moines, is excited to sponsor Capital City Pride. At F&G, we understand the value of being able to show up as your true self and creating a culture of belonging. We are proud to support Capital City Pride and the LGBTQ community to help strengthen and promote a culture of inclusivity. F&G, thank you so much again. You rock. Tonight it comes after yesterday, which was the International Trans Visibility Day. And for a while, I got to thinking about how many people that I know in my life that are either trans, non-binary, or are somewhere questioning on the spectrum with where they are. And these people are beautiful. They're valid. They're valued. They're part of our community. And we're just so, blessed to have every member of our community be a part. But it's just so crucial and critical at this time that people are seen and heard for exactly who they are. And so this tonight has been a long time coming with Jade Phoenix, and I'm so excited about Jade in particular because to have those planning calls with Jade, everything was natural. Talking about their artistry, talking about their film, talking about motherhood, coming in and speaking also about, what, we're in a freaking pandemic, but we're going to rock anyway. And another thing that's special about tonight is that we just really want you to be engaged, and we're so excited with what's on the docket. Looks like Tracy Caban says hello. Hello, Tracy. Also, that's a reminder. If you all have any comments or questions that you have for Jade, please feel free to leave them in the comment or in the chat section. So we're here live on Facebook, and we're also up on YouTube. Also, let's see what else I have for you all tonight. I have this scarf on because it is chilly where I am. But I just want to say that thank you all so much for being here. And since January, we've had a bang up list of speakers who've been on the docket. January, give a special shout out to Goddess Carol at Sunseed Community. Thank you, Goddess. In February, we had Diana Prince with the Pride Center of Des Moines. And then in March, we had two from the Golden Crown Literary Society. So thank you again, Ann Roberts and Marie Pena. And tonight we have Jade Phoenix. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Jade and let her introduce herself and the film that we're going to be watching tonight.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you, Destiny, for the introduction and for having me. Capital City Pride. Like you said, it's been 2 years coming, and I'm stoked that after, a year of like trying to get it going and then a year of like, oh, this pandemic, now what do we do? We finally got this together. So grateful for that. So thank you for tuning in and for being a part of this. I have today a film for y'all that is called How to Make a Rainbow. and it's a film about me and my daughter and kind of sharing the story of just what it's like to be a trans mother and go through transition and also parenting, and from the perspective of a 6-year-old. So hope you enjoy, and keep in mind we will field some questions and we'll have a little conversation after, talking about the film, talking about all kinds of things from trans motherhood to queer identity to artistry. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Again, thank you for being here and enjoy the film.
Hello, everyone. Don't mind me. Just getting the video ready. It's not what I wanted to do. Technical issues always.
Hello, Papa? Hello?
Yeah, keep it held down when you're talking the whole time. So try saying something for a long time.
So sorry.
La 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 la
Okay. Perfect. I think you got it. So we can do some kind of like adventures of Phoenix and Raven.
Yeah, I want to be Raven.
You want to be Raven? Okay, so what kind of adventures would be?
Phoenix, where are we going? It seems scary in here. I don't think no one ever comes in here, ever.
Turn around, quick. You're gonna need this though, wherever we go.
Okay. Okay, I'm right here. Ugh. Can you hold my walkie-talkie?
The turbulence! Oh no!
What was your favorite thing about being 4 years old in the last year?
Coloring on the fridge and being in a home.
We're gonna find a home soon, I promise.
Do you gotta go potty? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You should do it.
No.
Just get them all out.
All of them?
Yeah.
It's too much for my little hands.
Too much for your little hands?
Papa, are there thorns on here?
I don't think those ones have thorns, no.
There's some stuff that are hurting me.
Okay, just be careful then. Eliza, do you ever notice what Lola and Lola call me?
Yeah, boy.
And the name?
JP.
Yeah. You know that I say that that's my dead name? Do you know why?
Why?
Because that's what I used to go by before I transitioned.
Which trying to just...
Before I became a girl. Sometimes when we're in the girls' bathroom and you call and you say, Papa, sometimes that scares me because, you know, maybe then people think there's a boy in the girls' bathroom.
Then why don't you wear...
Why don't I what?
wear a dress?
Am I wearing a dress right now?
Yes.
But you know, like, dresses isn't what makes someone a girl. Did you know that you used to call me Mama when you were first born? But then my family always corrected you? What happens when you tell them I'm a girl?
They say he.
Yeah, right? They try to correct you?
Yeah, I don't want them to.
I know, you always stick up for me. But that's what they do. And that's why I stopped going there.
Wait, did you have a Mother's Day before?
Well, yeah, not for me, not really. Because people didn't see me as a mother for so long.
No, it looks like.
Oh, it's kind of curvy. It's like a curvy heart.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Over.
What is your favorite thing about being a girl?
My favorite thing is I get to be who I feel that I am.
What I like about being a girl is that I live with a girl papa.
Okay, now get your N. So I'll start at the bottom, go up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a lowercase N.
Oh.
Okay, and then E.
E is like papa, ducky finger.
Kentucky fingers. So how you feeling about calling me Mappa? Bad? You tried it. Remember? How come you don't like it?
Just don't.
You're not used to it? What if you try getting used to it?
Try. See?
You want to learn how to spell it?
Yeah, first
Okay.
I'm gonna do.
Let's spell it. How do you think Mappa is spelled? It starts with the same as mom. Now draw with us right here.
Today's schedule looks like this. We're having our morning meeting now. That we have mystery reader. And Eliza, you have the choice. You can sit next to your mom, or you can sit on the road. You're gonna sit next to your mom. Okay.
My name is Jade Phoenix. I am Eliza's ma. This one is called 10,000 Dresses. Mom, I dreamt about a dress, said Bailey. Uh-huh, said her mother. A dress made of crystals that flashed rainbows in the sun. Uh-huh. And I was wondering if you would buy me a dress like that. Bailey, what are you talking about? You're a boy. Boys don't wear dresses. But I don't feel like a boy, Bailey said. These dresses don't show us the Great Wall of China or the pyramids, said Laurel. No, said Bailey, but they do show us ourselves. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask about this book? Yeah.
This is a question about it. My mom was talking about gender when.
Oh, cool. Like when I'm talking about Eliza, I say she is my daughter, and her favorite toys are LOL dolls, right? So when you want your friends to talk about you, you get to choose what you want your gender pronouns to be, okay? Yeah?
So it's like a career?
No, it's not a career. It's just how do you want when people talk about you? Do they say he or her or she or his?
He has a right to wear a dress because it's his body.
Right.
Like my mom.
Yep.
Because she just got her.
Our place is nice, huh?
I guess it's fine.
You want some more, guys?
No, I want something else.
Okay. You want to know what that is?
Yeah. I like the raisins thing.
This is a letter that says that I was approved for top surgery.
What is that?
So I'm going to have surgery in a couple months. So it's gender confirmation surgery. So you know how like some girls, like your mom, like Titi, like they have boobs?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they grow naturally.
Yeah.
Mine don't grow like that. So I'm going to have a surgery that I get boobs put on, like breast implants.
Okay.
That's going to be in like Maybe in June or July. You're gonna have to take care of me.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Wait, am I gonna be my mom or you?
Well, we're gonna have to have like a care team, but you can come visit me after,
So I'm gonna be with mom?
for the most part, and then maybe some other people will help take care of you. Some of my friends, or but I'm gonna be in bed for like a couple days, and I can't do anything.
Wait, so I have to do everything?
Yeah, you have to cook for me.
No, yeah, God.
You make me avocado toast,
Okay.
hash browns and eggs.
Okay.
This one. Unicorn party. That one?
Oh, what? Turn it on. Can I get the turn on?
That one?
Happy birthday! I want the silver. Oh, great! I'm getting the silver. Oh, great! I'm getting the silver. Oh, you want silver? Okay. It's okay. Boys wear headbands. Okay, it's all silver. It feels like a real spider. I really want silver. Ah! Don't put it near me. Give me! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Which one? You see? Oh, so the red thing? That
So
one's
that one is kitty. The other one's
cutie.
cutie.
Like it wants its food already. It knows that you're gonna feed him.
Wait, so that's gonna
That's-
always have the
Well,
color
that's
there?
gonna be a scar and it's gonna heal. But that's gonna be the main thing I'm gonna be feeling the pain with. Is like basically having like 2 cuts on my chest.
Oh, like here?
Yeah.
Or like
So I
right
won't be able to
here.
like reach up. I'll have to put like everything low.
Like that.
And I can't even really like open doors or
Or like that.
that's why I'm gonna need you to get those things for me.
You won't be able to do that.
Nope. What are you trying to do? I don't know if that's a good plan, baby. Oh wow. So read this. This is
Rebirth.
rebirth.
Rebirth. Releases old patterns and emotional scars.
I love you. So this is a story about a unicorn named Roxy. Roxy was a special unicorn. When she was born, she didn't have her horn. When she was in elementary school, she met another unicorn without a horn, and immediately they became friends.
She's in great hands, okay?
And then when they got older, they met someone along the way that told them there's a magical way for them to get horns. And so they determined that they would go on this journey together. Roxy and Phoenix, they went to the depths of the earth together and they solved the most unsolvable infinite rainbow riddle that you can solve. Do you know any riddles?
How do rainbows come?
How?
Sun and rain.
It's been a long time. I'm feeling better, so it's not like I have there's still a little bit of pain, but
I want somebody to play this with us. Ma, can you play this with us?
yeah, sure.
Yay. She can be on. Okay.
Jade, that was so beautiful. For everybody watching, I told Jade this is my third time watching it now. And the second time I was almost crying because I was like, wow, look how authentic this is. And I told Jane it's not my season to cry. So I got those back on up there. But I would love to, hear your thoughts about, the process of making that film. Like, was it a more emotional labor, or what did you expect, and what did you ultimately settle with in your spirit while making that?
Yeah. I love that you mentioned the part about crying. I definitely feel like that is, what I was trying to get at. And if you cried, then, that was kind of the point of the film, was to get you to like empathize and feel the story of, a trans mother. And it was so much about what I wanted to bring to the forefront was so many times trans stories and trans narratives are rooted in trauma or pain or violence. And I wanted this one to be a story of joy, a story of, happy and lighthearted, and something that could like kind of take the whole perspective of, we as trans people, yes, we go through difficult things, but we also live normal lives full of joy and happiness, just like other people. And I think the main thing I wanted to get across was just getting snippets of our lives, as regular people that do, we raise children, we have families, and it came out really how I wanted the story to come out, in a way that was able to be something that was really accessible. It was short enough that people can get drawn into it, but it's impactful enough that people feel the power of what the narrative's trying to tell. And so I'm grateful to the director and to the, it was a small team of people that were able to get that together and really like make that vibe happen. And we were able to tour it on, multiple festivals over the last 2 years. And we ended up winning an award at Outfest with that film. It won the award for Best Doc. So we have definitely got a lot of great feedback from it, and we feel like it landed where we wanted it to, and I'm grateful that it's out in the world now.
Oh my goodness. It was such a treat, especially now everything is virtual. So, people who weren't into films before are now finding themselves watching films, reading books, looking at virtual art showcases, and, a particular voice that's often left out are trans voices and folks who identify as non-binary. At the point at which you decided to become a filmmaker and an artist, what was the tipping point where you felt, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna go for it. What was that moment like for you, or what was that moment when you decided to make that journey?
Yeah. Um, I think it's twofold. Like I'm an artist at heart, and so I'm a storyteller. I started off as a poet, and so I still am currently a performance poet. I'm a public speaker. That's what kind of pays the bills for me, right? Is like doing things like this, being places, speaking about my story and transgender issues, gender nonconforming, kind of just bringing awareness to our community. And I realized that like the spoken word poetry is very small, niche, kind of like people who appreciate it, colleges, universities, open mics. I wanted to get my voice and my narrative out on a wider scale and get bigger audiences. And I felt like putting it into film and like, trying to tell a narrative in like film story, would, like you said, would reach more people. And, I didn't anticipate a pandemic, obviously, but the media, having another form of media as a way of being able to connect with my work. And so I just felt like, I had a friend that I had done a short film, or as a poet, I did a piece about LA, and he was a friend that made, either short films or like little creative projects. And so I did this film where I did this poem on the buses in the middle of the day about LA, just like performed it on the trains in like real time. And we did like 4 or 5 takes. He spliced them all together. And that was the first time I worked with my director. So we did a piece together already. And then he approached me, 5 years later, because we had worked together already, and was like, hey, I want to be an ally for the trans community, for LGBT folks. He's a cisgender white person, and he knew that he had the skills and he had the talent, obviously, as you can see, and he had the gear to put together a short film. And he didn't charge me. I didn't. It was just this one. It was just like this. We just want to make something, a piece of art, and so there was just this like kind of synergy. And so when he approached me of like, let's make a film, I was like, let's do it. And this is kind of what happened. So it was like this synchronicity of like having opportunity, and also this desire of like wanting to expand my range as an artist. And they kind of came together, and now I'm like, I want to make more films.
And I feel like you definitely should make more films.
Yes.
Right. And you've got folks who tuned in and said it was a great film, very authentic, made Tracy cry. And Hillary said, what an authentic look through a child's eye. And told you're beautiful, and so is your child.
Thank you.
Yes. And so, thinking about the film and thinking about bringing it back to the pandemic, there were people who were supposed to be in and out of bringing in new content. We've actually had to force ourselves to slow down and to breathe a bit. How do you balance, being an artist, mother, and a whole human out here? Like, at what point, what do you do to rest?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a tough one, right? There's a lot of things on my plate, right? And also with like this sort of like capitalism always like making you like, what are you producing? You're not as good as your last, like whatever you're producing. And so all these pressures, and then like, yes, being a parent, being an artist, there's so much that it feels like can be overwhelming. And I feel like it's really important to get rest. And I love that question, because I think oftentimes people forget that like we're not just these robots that keep pumping out content, that keep pumping out labor. I think it's important to find moments of rest. And for me, it's very much, I allow myself to just turn off from the world, right? And if I'm on my phone, scrolling through Twitter, looking on Facebook, that's just going to like get my heart pumping again. That's just going to get my blood pressure up. I can't be about that. So I give myself moments to just cut out and feel okay about it. I have a little meditation den where I can just go and like be quiet and let myself listen to my breathing, my breath. And then I love taking baths. Like I'm a Scorpio and I'm a water sign, and just like heavy into like oceans, rivers, lakes, bodies of water. I just love being immersed in water. Mm-hmm. So like hot baths, a candle, wine, some music, and just relax. And so I really find that it's important to like take care of ourselves and to remember how important rest is. Also, I scheduled my year so that I have all of my work through, like, hopefully I get all the work done, and like Pride is like kind of like in June is like I'm done, and then I could have the rest of the year as a vacation. So that's the plan.
Ooh, that sounds lovely. And I love that. I love that you have that planned rest. So you
Yes.
know what it's going to look like coming in. And maybe that's
in the schedule. Yes.
I love that. Oh, Jude has a quick question. What state did you make the film in?
This is in California. I live in Los Angeles, and that was filmed in Los Angeles.
All right. And then Hillary has a question. What is your biggest challenge as a trans parent navigating the world? Big question.
Yeah. I think it's mostly about wanting to be sure that like my daughter is like protected from the ways that I can be discriminated against, right? I think I did a screening of this film yesterday, and someone asked the question if, because I did show this at my school or at her school, some people asked like, does she get bullied for this, or do people ever make fun of her? And that was a real question that I never really thought about. And she answered it in real time and said, no, not really. I'm grateful that the school that she goes to is like pretty progressive and is supportive of trans folks. So she hasn't really encountered any of that. I think I just want to be able to give my daughter the best life that she can have, right? And if that means, like being able to have abundance of resources and make her life comfortable, I want to do that. And I would say that the biggest challenges I have as a trans person is being able to access, wealth, resources, opportunities, the same way that cis people would, right? And so my work has to be, stand out more, or I have to somehow find the right connections that will finally get my work to like be, recognized for its worth. And if I want to give my daughter that life that she deserves, like I have to do the work for that. And the biggest challenge is like having access to those type of opportunities in the same ways that non-trans people do. So I'd say that's my biggest challenge that I'm facing now.
Jade, I'm glad you said something about that. It makes me think about allyship within our own community. So, while I am in the LGBTQ community, I'm an L, and I'm a Black L. I'm a Black cis L. And thinking about, some of the intersections that, I work within, being trans is not one of them. So in me thinking about ways that I can show up authentically, I'm going to ask this question for me, but maybe it resonates with somebody else. For somebody who has so many intersecting identities, what can we do to show solidarity with one another? If, so Jade, I see you, as my sister. And if you said, hey, sis, I need X, Y, and Z, do you know somebody who has something? That's something I'll be able to offer. But what is something that you think you would want somebody in our community to be an ally to do?
Yeah. Especially in light of, like you said, yesterday was like Transgender Visibility Day. And often, like for me, this is like, my 7th year of like going through that whole like visible, let's be visible. And it used to be where I would like take a selfie and everyone would be like, you're beautiful. And after a while, I was like, you know what? Visibility just isn't really doing much anymore. It's like, if anything, it's just making the targets on our backs bigger. Visibility, like, isn't paying my bills, and people talk about, when people want to like ask you to do something for the exposure, it's the same type of thing, right? Like exposure doesn't pay the bills. And so what it really comes down to is how are you making lives of trans people materially better, right? What are you doing to support the trans people in your lives or trans organizations that that are doing this work? For me, it's like it's how can you connect use your privilege and your resource to support the trans folks. Oftentimes, we are trans people, especially trans people of color, Black trans women, like you said, in this like intersection of like being trans and being Black and being a woman. Black trans women are often the ones most targeted by police violence, by being least access to jobs and housing.
Right.
And so it's like when we know that in our own community there's people that are really struggling, oftentimes what are we doing to actually help them? And for me, even as a trans person, I try, I see GoFundMe's all the time for like Black trans women trying to get their HRT, access to healthcare. And it's like putting those out, supporting them, giving of your money and your resource. Also, if you're an organization or you have access to organizational wealth, right, or corporate wealth, or it's a resource, you can get trans people in to speak, to share the film. Do it what I'm doing, basically going to schools, universities, corporations that want to center trans voices. If you have any access to that kind of like material wealth or opportunities, then you go reach out to like find trans people, find trans women of color, Black trans folks to center their voices and be like, look, I got a bag for you. All you gotta do is show up and share your story. And I think that those are the best ways, or, if whatever part of you has access to privilege or wealth or resource, how can you funnel that to trans folks? And I think that's the thing, is like, that's real life action that makes the lives of material lives of trans people better. If also another level is like, if you're the type of person that loves sending emails and bugging senators and mayors and these people, like, that is great. You can do that, because in Arkansas, just this past week already, they passed the bill that is banning healthcare to trans youth. So they're targeting our children now, like children. And it's just like, this is just not okay. Like, this is what I say, like, visibility, if anything, is only showing people that we're gaining more autonomy. And now there's a pushback, and now there's a bigger target. And so, if that's the type of thing that you feel like you can do on a political level, is, be that person, the agitator, the person that's going out there and bringing awareness, I feel like those are really great opportunities as well.
Ooh. Jade, you said a mouthful. So smooth, but here's what I'm hearing you say. I'm just going to sum it up for folks who may have had a hard time trying to figure out where they fit in. Given your own capabilities and resources that you have, show up either monetarily or at the polls, or bugging, legislators to make sure that the issues that are affecting a portion of our community is seen bigger, so that we know it's a community issue and not just those folks over there.
For sure.
A lot of times what happens is, I live in a very diverse neighborhood, and some of them say, well, that's a non-issue. That happens on 2 streets away, and they don't see it as connected. So a lot of what I picked up was, we're connected. Some of you all might not be connected to legislators, but you might have money though. Or some of you all might not have too much money, but you might have tech. You might have old tech that you don't use anymore, that's still functional, that you could give, or things that you could think about what people need. I think that's excellent, Jade. Thank you for putting it so eloquently and breaking it down for us and for the viewers. We have a question. Have you ever given a presentation and felt it wasn't well received? And if so, what was the agency?
Actually don't have any experiences like that. I've been lucky enough that most of the time I come out to speak, it's been with people that are really trying to, that are centering trans voices and are, intentionally reaching out to me to be someone that can speak for what they're trying to do. And so I'm grateful that I have not had, really poor or negative experiences around that. And that most of the time that I go to work, and when people are like, opening their wallets to give me money, that they're, pretty much like on board with what I'm trying to do and wanting to amplify it. So in that sense, I feel pretty grateful. And that's why I love the work I do right now, is because it is with communities that I feel are, at least on some level, they got my back. And maybe there's people in the crowd that I pushed back against, or that didn't agree with me, or didn't, feel like, they were right on board with everything I was saying, but I never personally have got that pushback. So I'm grateful for that. And I want to continue to do work like this, to continue to tell my story. And hopefully if there are more people in crowds like that, me telling that story is bringing about empathy for them, and hopefully changing the way that they do see, you know, trans issues, transgender rights, and those type of things.
Jay, thank you so much for saying that. You know, and I say thank you because there are so many times when people ask questions or feel like they're not asking it in a certain way, and then they're just like, well, I don't know if I asked it correctly. And a lot of times, you know, when I speak to members of the trans community or non-binary, it's just ask. Just ask the question, like, what is it that you want to know about, you know, how to show up for a community member. And I was telling for folks at home, I was talking with Jade a little bit earlier about the Golden Crown Literary Society. So for those of you who were at last speaker series, had the privilege of hosting them and what it is that they do in their organization, about how they're broadening their horizons of how they capture people's stories. So they're bringing on a screenwriting track, and I'm wondering about trying to connect the broader community, you know, with you, and think about what you could, you know, what lectures you might be able to give future writers or authors or spoken word artists at that national institution. So if anybody from GCLS is watching, I might be sending you an email trying to trying to connect you to about authenticity and trying to connect in that way. If nothing else from this dialogue back and forth about community showing up and showing out for trans lives and giving for trans lives, that people feel like they have resources to give. You know, sometimes when people get involved with organizations or giving, they think they have to be out in front, or they have to be out in front of the march, or they have to, you know, be visible in a way that's just showing that they're there. And what people don't realize, um, some of the most folks who are doing the work, they're you know, feeding the masses. So it needs to sustain. So Jade, you know, thinking about your video, the how you filmed it, and your actual film, when the film was a finished product, that's something that's marketable. That's something you can give to a corporation and say, it was a video, now it's a film. This film captures what, you know, a 5-year-old could see and say, you know, here are my pronouns. Here's how you can stand up for yourself and others. And here's how you live in a world that is slowly catching up to you. So, you know, your daughter couldn't be here tonight, but I feel her presence all around. What is it? Has anybody come up to your daughter and asked you, well, what do you think about, you know, having a trans mom? Has anybody broken it down so plainly to her? Or what are some of the feedback or pushback she may have gotten?
Yeah. She hasn't really had any, you know, tough questions to face. Like I said, whenever we share the film, she's, you know, obviously she's the star of the show whenever we were able to like share it. She actually has the total opposite. Like, we've walked around in LA, we've gone on a hike, and some people recognized us and they're like, oh, I've seen your film, you were amazing, you know. And she was just like so you know, like struck that like people knew her, you know, like, and they were just like moved by it, you know. And so like the fact that like we've been like recognized in LA, you know, is like, oh, we're making it, we're doing it, you know. So I think that the way that she's taken all of what's happening, and like you said, this is a marketable film, and this is how I make a living now, is like I'm actually screening the film, and usually I have my daughter with me. She would be right here, she'd be answering questions, but she's on spring break this week, so she didn't want to work, but it's a marketable film, and usually when I do these things, I'm paying her. And so this like 9-year-old is like making money, and she's like, you know, living the life, and she's already learning about like saving and investing. I think that one of the biggest challenges when we were filming with her was she was a little younger, so she was like 5. It was like from like 5 to 7-ish, I think, around there. And, you know, in moments of like filming, it'd be like, 6-7 hours. She was getting tired. She's like, I don't want to do this anymore, which is totally fine. And we were just like, whenever you want to stop, you can stop. But I also gave her the motivation. I was like, but also you're going to get paid for this. And so like this like 5-year-old is understanding the value of her work and the value of like, you know, telling stories and her being able to tell a story. And she understands that process. And so when we actually won that award at Outfest, We went up to the stage to receive it. When we got back down, she just looked at me and she's like, you know what? It feels so good to be recognized for your work, for our work. And I was like, yeah, it does. You know, it's like little 7-year-old is like talking about like understanding like the value of like people recognizing like when you create something beautiful that there's like value there. And so I love that, you know, these are the kind of, you know, like we're creating this for her to have such a positive understanding of the world and like through money, through work, through art, through storytelling, that, yeah, I'm glad that there actually hasn't been any negative pushback for her. It's mostly just been like, all right, let's go. Let's keep doing this.
That is fabulous. Jude says TED Talk with 3 question marks.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Would you consider doing that? That's a goal.
TED Talk
Okay.
is very much like when you get a TED Talk, it goes viral. Like I'll be making money for the rest of my life off of that. So if there's anyone out there that, you know, that knows how to host one or can connect me to one, like I am for sure down for a TED Talk.
I'll say that again because it's not me. Hey, if anybody has any connections with TED Talks, put Jade on. Jade would love to get connected, and that would be phenomenal. And they say, okay, Hillary says, love that you're teaching your daughter the value of telling her story. It's such a young age too, and just seeing Eliza so matter of fact about, well, what is this? Or, oh, I understand now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, sometimes people are asking questions like, well, what is an appropriate age to talk about gender or genders or identity for that matter? And, you know, what is your approach to, you know, what was your approach to discussing genders with your daughter?
Yeah, I mean, as you saw in the film, right? It was like, I just did not try to down talk to my kid. Like I never talked to her like a baby. I never had baby talk. It was always like, I see my child as a fully functional human that can make, you know, like that, whatever I'm telling her, if she doesn't understand, she could ask questions. We get deep, we can, and then I'll just answer them as they go. And so a big part of it was just talking to her like I would try to talk to a friend about these things, talking to her like I would talk to, you know, someone that was interested or curious. And I felt like it was important at an early age because, you know, like she's the daughter of a trans woman. And so she's seeing this change happen in real time. And so I felt it was important just to help her understand. A lot of times I remember, you know, like we would go to parks and other kids would be like, is that your mom or your dad? Like people would be like confused. And so she would have to like answer that, you know? And so there was just like all these interesting moments of when like they were just facing her. They were already starting to come, the questions and the things at the time she was 5, 4. So it was just natural. Like, let's just talk about it. And I figured we can shoot a film while we're doing it to capture, you know, this moment and what it looks like. And hopefully that it can model for other parents, even if you're not trans or you don't have trans kids. Also a way of, if you do end up having a trans child, you know, like helping, you know, conversations around gender is like your child can know these things as early as they begin to understand themselves. And so I feel like it's important that we're giving kids these understanding and these concepts, because I think a huge part of facing and fighting against transphobia is teaching these things at a young age. If it's part of our curriculum, if it's part of, you know, the school system, like we're teaching them about X, Y, and Z. I think we can also teach them about gender identity, gender roles, and how people don't always fit into the gender norms and that there's people outside of them.
That's right.
I think that there's really accessible ways to teach these things to children. And I think that that's important, because if we can do that at a young age, you know, we're not catching, you know, 17, 18, 19. Finally, we're starting to have to like ask these questions, and we don't have to go backwards and like do all this unlearning of the ways that they've been taught about gender norms, and they've been taught about, you know, whatever they've been taught. And so I think that it's important that we're teaching these things at a young age, and that, like you saw in this, like me reading this book at the school, right? And that the school that Eliza goes to is supportive. Actually, they have a trans student amongst the student body. And so it's like, if these children are young enough to know they're trans, like then we should be able to talk to them about it. And I just think that that's just important moving forward, that we continue to push that in ways that it's a part of our education.
Oh, my cup is filling up. I am so loving this. Hearing you speak about that, it makes me think about the organization Family Equality. Hillary Gardner's on. I know, Hillary's pretty in the know with this sort of thing, but it's all about LGBTQ family awareness and advancing equality for that. So they do a lot of advocacy work and connecting and bridge building and connecting with other families. And so does something like that, or does a chapter like that exist in California?
I've heard of stuff like that, yeah. And I've definitely done some shown the film at some of those type of nonprofits. I've been connected with some of those, and yeah, I think that's important work, right? Seeing queerness within the family structure too, right? And how we can support that. And I think that those are all really important things of like, and how we can redefine family. And how we're able to create our own in ways that are unique to we're all unique people. And so I do love that type of work, and I have been able to connect with folks in that way. So definitely support that.
Right. And Jade, one thing I really, really love about hearing you speak and just seeing your face light up, your face really lights up when you talk about expanding filmmaking, including transness as not as an outlier, but as you said, trans folks are everyday people. So in being able to show that in film and enable to show laughter, joy, something that is not so downtrodden, all the time. Nobody's sad all the time. And so, when there are stories that are being shown only in one light, then people only see, oh, the story is always sad. But when that video that I saw, I can't remember what it was about, but it had this. It was a short little clip about a man who was walking down the street, but he was uh, picking dandelions. People said, "Is he homeless? Is he this?" And there were all these preconceived notions. Similarly, your film, beautifully made, it showed the funny, it showed the sad, it showed just the mundane and the extravagant, which was the unicorn in the storytelling for me. And so that's something that's so powerful when I hear you speak about how you want to be a key player in advancing the movement for trans folks and showcasing stories for big screen, little screen. Eventually you told me you wanted to be on the big screen with your film. And I'm like, whoa, that would be huge. And that is a giant step for trans rights and for us as LGBTQ folks and for the whole community. If you could partner with anybody to make a big film or a big feature film, who would it be?
Good question. I mean, yeah, there's already the big hitters that are doing things like Janet Mock, and Jay Rodriguez, India Moore, the cast of Pose, like they're really getting in there.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's also, I have so many trans friends that are just like not big names, but they're like my homies and they're talented. And I want to put them on, And so there's this idea of like, I want to get to a point where I have access and I have resources so that I can put my friends on, so I can put my community on. And so the idea of like this film has, this short film has been on the big screen, but I want to, like you said, I want to do a feature. I want to grow into like my storytelling. I'd love to get my daughter in on another feature one day, and tell another mother-daughter story that maybe isn't a documentary, but maybe something scripted that we write. And I want to be able to get to that point so that when I start making more and more and I get more access and more resource and get more notoriety as a creator, that I can bring my community in and be like, look, these are other talented storytellers, actors, actresses, comedians. And so I'm connected to so many other trans women of color, trans folks that are super talented and want to continue seeing us make our way into the, any industry, whatever industries that we want, whether that's music, film, television, writing, whatever industries that we want to break into. I feel that we should have a space in them and we deserve a space in them. And in a lot of ways, we kind of have to like kick these doors down. And I'm grateful for those that have come before me. Like I said, all that like Pose has been huge and like pushing that door down and breaking that glass ceiling. And now that they got their foot in, like there's just more opportunities for us. And I think it's most important that now that trans stories are starting to get, into like the popular, like, ooh, this is unique. It's important that we're the ones that are telling them, right? That it's not people who, not Hollywood execs that are like, ooh, trans is in, like, and then they just get all these cis writers and they're not even like reflecting our true lived realities. So I think it's important that as our visibility grows, that our opportunities are also growing and that our opportunities to step into those roles are becoming more and more fruitful for us as a community.
Ooh, folks, I'm in all the feels. Like I am loving this. Hearing Jay talk about wanting to put her crew on. It makes me think about, Tiffany Haddish. She put on They Ready for Netflix. She said those were the folks that she would come back to get once she made it. And everybody thought she was joking or she was playing, but she put on that whole special for them. What a wonderful thing that would be once, not if, once you are able to get to that platform and the folks, you said, no, girl, I got you. And they'll say, man, you're kidding. And you say, nope, you're right up here with me. And just to say, you know what? Jade was on Capital City Pride Speaker Series in April in 2021, and we got to see her win. Candace says, we love to point back to the community and show out for our network. Hello? And that's what it's all about. And these hours always go by too fast for these speaker series. And we can keep going because now we're finally getting to a point where people are just like, yeah, what can we do to put our own folks on or to lift people up? And for those of you watching, thanks for always showing up and learning more about these speakers series and what it means for the speakers, what it means for the communities. Jay, do you have any final words for the folks?
No, other than thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being out there and being interested in our story. If you want to stay connected to my work, right there, you can see my handle on Instagram at Jade Phoenix _. Follow me on there. You'll see, if any other screenings are happening or, any appearances like this happen and you want to stay connected or you have opportunities that you want to, pass my way or that you have access to, definitely hit me up. You can hit me up in the DMs on Instagram. I'll respond there. So other than just thanking you for being a part of this, thank you, Destiny and Capital City Pride for putting me on this. 2 years coming, finally got this done. So it's been an honor being and getting to spend time with you all. So thank you again.
Jade, the honor was ours. Like I was really struggling last week with just everything happening. And just, these conversations like this, where we talk about lifting our community up, showing film, lifting up spoken word, other bits of artistry, the pictures, everything that we can see to show folks we are living comfortably and living truly. It's been an honor. And for those of you all for showing up, like I said, if it's your first time here, thank you so much for tuning in today. And got a shout out from Jude. Thank you for sharing your story. Ashley on the board, thank you for sharing your story. You got love out here and in Iowa and beyond. And so we're just honored to have you. And Hillary, you are rocking that tech. I know we can't see you. You're in the background, but you are doing that thing. Yes, you made it smooth for us. And F&G, thank you so much for being a new sponsor for us. But for those of you who are thinking about, how can I sponsor? What can I do? You can reach out to Capital City Pride Des Moines and check out our Facebook, our Instagram. We're also on TikTok. Nice. I'm not on TikTok, but y'all rock. Who's on TikTok? And there's going to be somebody to connect with you. And so this has been the April series of the speaker series, and we've got Jade Phoenix. I'm gonna stretch this out as long as I can because it's you, Jade. Jade is still rocking. Eliza, give a shout out to Eliza, the star of the show. Give a shout out to those kids who are being so brave reading the stories. And thank you so much to your directors and your whole team of putting something together that was truly beautiful. All right, I'm Destiny. I'm signing off with Jade. Thank you again, Hillary, and thank you all for showing up. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.